Every single day, trillions of dollars are just zipping across the global economy. We earn it, we spend it, we save it. But have you ever really stopped to think about where all that money comes from? I mean, really comes from. It's not just some trivia question. It's one of the most fundamental and honestly surprising secrets of our modern world. So let's ask it straight up. Where does money actually come from? If you're thinking of some giant government vault with massive printing presses, well, that's part of the story, but it's not even close to the whole thing. The real answer is way more fascinating than you might imagine. Okay, let's start with the obvious answer, the one we all have in our heads. You can almost hear it, right? The clanking of coin mints and the whirring of those huge printing presses spitting out sheets of crisp, new banknotes. And look, that's not wrong. Every country has a central bank, like the Federal Reserve here in the US, and their job is to create physical currency. They run the mints, they run the printing facilities, and they make the actual notes and coins that you carry around. But, and this is a huge but, that's only a tiny piece of the puzzle. Because this is where the story takes a really sharp turn. All of that physical cash, every single bill, every single coin in circulation, it only makes up a tiny, tiny slice of all the money in the economy. So, if it's not being printed, where on earth is the rest of it? Welcome to the real money machine, and we're not talking about paper and ink anymore. We're talking about the world of digital ones and zeros, which is where most of our money is actually born. Just look at this. It's kind of staggering when you see it laid out. About 95% of all the money in our economy isn't paper or metal. It exists only as a digital entry in a bank's computer. To put that another way, for every $1 you can physically hold in your hand, there are about 19 more that are just data. This is a massive shift in how our world works, and it's happened almost invisibly. So how is all this digital money being created? Well, here is the core concept, and it's a real mind-bender. Most money is created, essentially out of thin air, every time a commercial bank, your bank, issues a loan. It's not being moved from a vault, it's brand new money. Let's walk through a super simple example. Say you go to a bank for a home loan. When that loan gets approved, the bank doesn't reach into a pile of someone else's savings to give it to you. Nope. They just type the numbers into your account, and poof, new money has just been digitally created. Literally, moments before, that money did not exist. Now, this incredible process has an official name. It's called fractional reserve banking. It's a system that lets banks keep just a small fraction of all deposits on hand in reserve and then lend out the rest. And that act of lending is the engine of money creation in our economy. And it doesn't even stop there. You take that brand new loan money and you pay the person selling the house. What do? They deposit that money into their bank. And what does that bank do? Well, it keeps a tiny fraction in reserve and lends out the rest, creating even more new money in the process. It's called the multiplier effect, and it's how the money supply can expand so rapidly. So you might be thinking, why on earth do we have a system that just creates money out of nothing? Well, the goal is to fuel the economy. By allowing banks to create credit like this, the system makes sure there's always capital available to fund new businesses, let people buy homes, and encourage investment. It's really the engine that powers economic growth. But, as we're about to see, it's an engine that needs some very careful maintenance. Right, because as you can imagine, a system that lets thousands of banks create money can't just be a free-for-all. It's a really high-stakes balancing act, and that's where something called monetary policy comes into play. The single biggest danger in this whole system is inflation. Think about it. If banks create way too much money, way too quickly, you suddenly have a flood of cash, chasing the same amount of stuff to buy. And what happens then? Prices go up, and the value of every single dollar you have goes down. This is the incredible tightrope that central banks have to walk every single day. If they let too little money get created, the whole economy can grind to a halt. Growth slows, investment dries up. But if they let too much money get created, you risk runaway inflation that just wrecks everyone's savings. Their entire job is to use tools, like setting interest rates, to keep the economy balanced right in that perfect sweet spot. So this system of central banks and commercial bank lending, it has basically defined our modern era. But it is not the final chapter, not by a long shot. The very nature of money is starting to evolve again, and it's all being driven by technology. This timeline really shows the whole journey. We went from physical cash to the digital bank-created money we have today. But the future? that could look totally different. You've got governments exploring central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, where the central bank would create digital money directly. And then, of course, you have totally decentralized systems like Bitcoin, where new money is created not by any bank, but by a global network of computers solving math problems. It leaves us with this really profound question for the future. What does it actually mean for our economy, for our privacy, for our whole society, when all money is just programmable code? So, what's the big takeaway here? Money isn't just a simple thing like it's printed in a factory. It's a dynamic, complex system. It's created largely through digital lending. It's steered by careful policy. And maybe most importantly, it's all held together by our collective trust in it. If you found this peek behind the economic curtain as fascinating as I did, we'd really appreciate it if you could give this explainer a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the systems that secretly shape our world. And I really have to ask you, drop a comment below and let us know. Were you surprised to learn that it's commercial banks, not just the government, that create most of our money when they issue loans? Be honest. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.